Tamil Nadu politics and Periyar ideology are joined at hip. Anyone who tries to become huge in Tamil Nadu politics cannot and will not oppose Periyar ideology. This is not my opinion. I'm merely stating facts here. For example, let's take Rajinikanth. He has been trying to become an active politician for some time now. Undoubtedly, he has large number of fans, but huge fan base does not mean political success. And this was proved when Rajinikanth commented on Periyar and it was hugely criticized. Regardless of that, BJP continuously keeps attacking Periyar. Why is that? Why does BJP likes Ambedkar but hates Periyar? Periyar identified Brahmanism as the root cause of evils in the society. But this fact is hardly known to Dalits in the north. Why is that? What is the BJP achieving by opposing Periyar's ideology? Most importantly, why did BJP accept Ambedkar but did not accept Periyar? What is the BJP achieving by opposing Periyar? Most importantly, why is Ambedkar accepted and Periyar is not? Let's see the answers for all these questions in this episode. In March 2018, BJP supporters vandalized Periyar statue in Vellore. Then Periyar statue in Chennai Mount Road was also defaced, and now recently Periyar statue in Coimbatore is defaced. Also, there is a social media rage going on between Periyarists and BJP supporters about how BJP is deliberately made to look bad by few Periyarists in the mainstream news media. Not only this, anyone who writes about Periyar and his ideology is also opposed by BJP and its allies. So time and again, Periyar and people who support him are being disrespected and opposed by BJP. Mostly North Indian Dalit politics revolves around Ambedkar, Kanshiram and Jyotirao Phule, but not Periyar. So why is Periyar anonymous when it comes to North Indian Dalit issues? Is BJP the only reason, or are there any other factors? The answer is there are other factors other than BJP, and we'll see about those factors now. Periyar was a leading reformer in the 20th century. He was an atheist. He was born in a very religious Hindu family, but right from a very early age, he started to oppose the religion. He actually did not believe in the Vedantas or the Hindu philosophy, and he discarded the idol worship, and he also attacked the evils of Brahmanism and Hinduism in the society. Periyar inspired the people of non-elite classes by starting the self-respect movement. This particular self-respect movement was started with the aim of bringing in equal human rights for all citizens. And in his speeches, actually, Periyar spoke about women's rights mostly. Especially, he spoke about a woman's right to use contraceptions, a woman's right to divorce, and also about widow remarriage. All these he spoke when the entire Indian society was against the idea of contraception or divorce. Periyar was against Hinduism and Brahmanism. He actually told that Ramayana and other Hindu texts misinform people about Brahmin supremacy and about the caste system. He even told that Brahmin priests are corrupt, and he not only burnt Ramayana but he also considered Ravana as his hero. Periyar also quoted that he who created God was a fool, he who spreads his name is a scoundrel, and he who worships him is a barbarian. This is one of the main reasons why BJP and Periyarists will never get along. BJP and Periyarists are natural enemies. BJP is a pro-Hindutva party with an ideology that seeks to establish Hindu primacy, whereas Periyarists actually want a secular state. Periyar headed the Justice Party, which was formed in 1916, and this party was formed with the aim to highlight the issues of non-Brahmin people in politics as well as in the society. Later, he withdrew the party from electoral politics and turned it to social reformist organization with the name Dravida Kalagam. This organization is based on the principle of rationalism, women's rights, and eradication of caste system. Dravida Kalagam is the mother of both ADMK and DMK. Dravida Kalagam denounced its basic beliefs in Hinduism, and in 1957, Periyar and 3,000 of his followers were arrested for burning a copy of the constitution as it preserved caste order and untouchability. Periyar supported the idea of a separate nation to establish a society where there is no religious or caste-based discrimination. This is again completely opposite to the extreme nationalism that is being exhibited by the pro-Hindutva forces. Periyar said, "It is not because we lack in patriotism or clamor for agitations that we seek this separation, but it is for our self-preservation and self-respect." Periyar often rejected the idea of Indian state and union. The Republic of India was formed only after the British came in and took over 500 odd princely states and kingdoms and made it as one country. Periyar did not like this union. He also often associated nationalism with political Brahmanism. He was fiercely critical of nationalism, and even his campaign for a separate Dravidian nation was because of his opposition to caste. Despite these ideological differences, earlier the BJP leaders did not actually stir up such controversies like it is being done now. In fact, many BJP leaders embraced the Dravidian identity. Until now, we saw how BJP and Periyar did not go hand in hand. But not only BJP, even Congress were not great supporters of Periyar either. Periyar actually joined Congress when he was inspired by the principles of Mahatma Gandhi. But after being in Congress for just 6 years, he came out of the party because he found out that Congress was dominated by elite caste Hindus. And the Vaikom Satyagraha was one of the first instances where Periyar had his face off with Congress. Dalits in a place named Vaikom in Kerala were not allowed to offer prayers at a Shiva temple or even allowed to go to places surrounding the temple. Periyar started the Vaikom Satyagraha in 1924 mainly to oppose restrictions to places surrounding the temple because, well, we know Periyar, he's not a great fan of religion. And after this Vaikom Satyagraha, Periyar was given the title Vaikom Hero. Actually, Mahatma Gandhi wanted the movement to remain a local affair. He actually considered that the struggle at Vaikom could not be considered an appropriate Congress project. Gandhi did not want this movement to become a national movement. Historians such as Guha believed that even though pressure was building up and there was strong demands from Dalits and others to lead the movement in Vaikom, Gandhi did not support the movement. After he left Congress, Periyar then joined Justice Party, and under his leadership they began to question Mahatma Gandhi and other leaders of the Congress. So basically BJP and Congress were pro-Hindu ideologies, but BJP was open about it and Congress not as much, at least not now. In the first Self-Respect Provincial Conference held in 1929, Periyar urged all the non-Brahmins to drop their caste suffixes or surnames. This led to the formation of a group of institutions or organizations comprising of Shudras and Adi Dravidas. Still, he could not bring this idea to the whole of India. On the other hand, Ambedkar, who was fighting for the same cause in the north, had to carve out space for his political movement in the tiny gap left by the contradictions between various Indian political parties on one side and the colonial rule on the other side. Ambedkar slowly worked his way and eventually succeeded in bringing the Dalit issue to the national political agenda. Though Ambedkar had his differences with Mahatma Gandhi, he was accepted by Congress as an alternative to Periyar. And then Ambedkar went out to write the Constitution of India, and the efforts that BJP makes to prove its love for Ambedkar is purely political compulsion. For Periyar, on the other hand, BJP faces no such compulsion, so they can afford to criticize or even condemn Periyar. The RSS and BJP drive their politics based on caste supremacy. A recent post by S.V. Shekhar could be taken as a proof of that. They want to divide South India, but they also want the rest of India to be not affected by that. So, attacking Periyar could be seen as their strategy. Accepting Ambedkar and making Periyar a villain has been the Brahminical way of seeing things. In fact, both Ambedkar and Periyar severely criticized Hinduism. If people find it easier to accept Ambedkar today, it only means that Periyar had criticized Hindutva more severely than Ambedkar. When Ambedkar wanted to convert to Buddhism because he felt that Buddhism was the only way for the untouchables to gain equality, it was Periyar who advised him to make that a big movement. Along with close to 3,65,000 of his followers, Ambedkar converted to Buddhism. When Ambedkar advised Periyar also to convert, Periyar said he needed to be inside the Hindu religion to criticize it. Ambedkar and Periyar were from different geographies, but they were united in ideology. They are very relevant to current political scenario. I mentioned a historian Guha a few minutes ago. His full name is Ramachandra Guha, and the Ahmedabad University appointed him as the director of Gandhi Winter School. But immediately, BJP student wing ABVP opposed his appointment. According to them, this historian Guha's book divides the country. Eventually, Guha did not join the university. The book actually contained a chapter on Periyar and how his ideologies helped to reimagine the future of the country. But this was not acceptable to the right-wing students. Not all BJP leaders and cadres are this stubborn about Periyar and his ideology, but few leaders like H. Raja are provoking everybody from actors like Vijay to poets like Vairamuthu. H. Raja is actually trying to get some political mileage, but creating hate and violence and then trying to win the hearts of Tamil Nadu have never worked out. Even other BJP heads say that H. Raja's comments are his opinions and the party has nothing to do with those. The most recent tweet of SP Shekhar stating that Brahmins are the heads of Hindus has just added more fuel to the already growing fire in Tamil Nadu. Brahmin supremacy is as worse as white supremacy, and the superiority of Brahmins was not systematic or integral to the structure of the society, and anyone who supports the constitution knows that. Imposing Hindi, giving reservation for the forward castes, and the issues faced by Dalits in the north. These were the things that Periyar worked tirelessly to abolish. In fact, the Dalits in the south are not facing as brutal issues like the Dalits in the north only because of Periyar. Why would anyone give up the person who laid foundation for a better living? Why should they? The political, legal and moral equality of every citizen is the fundamental value of democracy, and Periyar fought for all those even before the constitution was written. BJP supporters and Periyar supporters are made natural enemy because of their differences in ideology. If both decide not to impose their opinion on each other, then there will be harmony.